Hello friends, welcome to Skill Tune, and this is Naresh, your host and host. Today we are going to uncover a lot of myths revolving around the battery usage, the battery performance, the battery life on your iOS devices. That's right. Let it be an iPad, let it be an iPhone, let it be an iPod. A new challenge arises every time when you use your phone, and that is nothing but, yes, that's right, battery issues on our phones. Right, everyone thinks that the battery life should be more extended. We need a little more better battery life, but the problem is, are we getting it? No, we are not getting it. So today we are going to show you some 7 tricks and tips how to go ahead and maximize your battery life on your iOS. With these tips, you're going to make sure that you enhance your battery life up to 20%. That's right, without installing any application. It's right on your iPhone. Its only thing is that we need to learn how to maximize it with stabilizing some settings and tweaking few settings in the iOS, and that's it. Stay tuned, watch the entire video, do not skip. You may lose very important vital informations which you do not want to lose it, right? Thanks guys. Stay tuned and tune your skill.
Alright, so friends, let's go through some theory regarding the battery life, the lifespan, what is the life cycle count, the battery charge capacity, and so on, right? So, I'm going to leave all the descriptions very clearly and going to share all the links so they can go through the theory part later on. So this is I'm going through this page on the Apple site, right? And it talks about what is the battery life and what is the lifespan, so on and so on. Let's go one by one. So battery life is the amount of the time your device runs before it needs to be recharged. Battery lifespan is the amount of time your battery lasts until it needs to be replaced. Maximize both and you will get the most of your Apple devices, no matter which one you own. Let's continue. So there are some general performance tips which I would like to share. The first one is obviously update your OS versions. Now, yes, this is very important thing. Avoid extreme ambient temperatures. Most of us don't realize that the temperature also matters in and around us about the battery lifespan, correct? The more humid the atmosphere is, it impacts a lot on the battery performance. I will leave the link in the description as mentioned earlier. You can go through this. This is very informative information which you cannot miss. Now this is something which I really wanted to cover. Most of us don't really care about this factor, that the cases which we use on our iPhone really matters when it comes to battery capacity. It says charging a device when it's inside certain styles of cases may generate excess heat. It does, and this is eventually when you notice after the battery is charged and it's inside a case. When you take out the case out, you will notice that the device gets hot when you charge it, and especially when you are taking off the case and you're trying to observe the heat, it's more natural that the heat exerted is more compared to an iPhone without a case. So please be careful when you're using some cases, and when you're charging your phone, it really generates a huge amount of heat than compared to a normal usage. Okay, this is one thing which we do not really consider. This is in case if you want to store your products for a long time, which has lithium ion batteries, do not fully charge and keep the device, because it really affects the performance and the battery life. Always remember, keep it around 50% and then store your device when you really want to store it for a long term. For example, if you're going out of station and if you have another primary phone which you're carrying along with you, if you're not using your iPhone or iOS device, please do keep them with a storage of 50% of battery, so that your battery lifespan is good, because it battery actually loses capacity if you are not storing the battery properly, and it also leads to shorter battery life. Remember this, guys. And also, it's advisable to power down your device to avoid additional battery use. Go through this link which I'm going to share. It's very, very informative, guys. Sorry about that. That's the text on my iPhone, right? So yes, let's begin the tips for iPhone, iPad and iPod Touch. Number one, obviously it's updating to the latest version, the latest software. And the next is optimize your settings. Now we'll go through the theory as I mentioned, but yes, we will go in deep. I will take you through the practical observations of how to optimize these settings, right? So dimming the display is one of the best thing we can do, and auto brightness is also very much important when it comes to battery life. Do definitely consider this option to either dim off your screen as much as it suits you, and in case if you are leaving it on a full 100% display brightness, trust me, it really hampers the battery life, right? Always use the auto brightness to extend the battery life. And but yes, remember, auto brightness uses the ambient light sensor, so it also will affect certain battery performance or stability. Okay, next, it's definitely that mobile data comparatively to Wi-Fi connections uses a high level of battery consumptions. Wi-Fi connections very rarely uses the power than compared to a mobile data. So keep Wi-Fi on all at times when you really are around the Wi-Fi networks. There are two ways to turn on Wi-Fi. I hope you know this. One is using the control center, and another one is going to the settings. Alright, enable power mode. Yes, you have a good feature introduced by Apple after the iOS 9 update, that you can use the low power mode to get the most of the performance from your battery on your iPhone devices. There are a lot of things which you can go through this page. We will talk about this later while we are observing it in a real iPhone. What are the settings, what are the tweaks we need to implement, and etc. But yes, let's go through this because it's really important. With iOS, you can easily manage your device's battery life because you can see the proportion of your battery used by each application. Very important, guys. Each application, it gives you the information on what is the percentage used and etc. You can also control it when you don't want certain activity to be used. I'll teach you how exactly that works, right? Background activity. There are some indications that the battery is used by the app while it is in background. We'll talk more in detail about the background activity, and a lot of myths involved around the background activity, which I'm going to uncover it in this video. So please keep watching the video and watch the video completely. Let's move on. There are a lot of factors which affects the battery life, guys, and we are going to go one by one and cover it. One of them is definitely location and background locations. We'll talk about more. I'm just skipping through this because I want you guys to read through it when you really want to have some theoretical knowledge on this aspect. Okay, very important thing. No mobile coverage and low signal is the most affected factor. You guys, we don't really realize, guys, that when we are in a poor mobile coverage area, and any phone for that matter, it keeps on searching for a better signal, and it in the low signal conditions, what happens is constantly searches for the battery life, right? I mean, sorry for that. It constantly keeps on searching for the signals, and eventually it drops the battery performance. And you can optimize your battery by turning on the airplane mode when you are actually in the low signal conditions. Swipe up to the control plane and you will see the airplane mode there. But yes, There are a lot of things which I would like to add on to this. We'll cover this soon. Okay, plug in and power on your computer to charge your device. Make sure your computer is plugged in and powered on when you are using it to charge your iOS device via USB. If your device is connected to a computer that is turned off or is in a sleep or a standby mode, your device's battery will drain, because it constantly tries to connect to the computer which is actually off, or it's in standby. So it really affects the battery performance there, guys. All right, so this is about Apple Watch, and you have a lot of other things here. You can go through this site, and I'll leave the description below. There's one more thing which I would like to cover here is, what is lithium ion compared to the traditional battery technology? You have a lot of information here. Please go through this. Again, this link will be shared with you guys. Look at that. Yeah, you saw the animation. The way the lithium ion battery works is completely different, right? The battery uses a fast charge to quickly reach to 80% of its capacity. Then it switches to the slower trickle charge, right? The amount of time it takes to reach the first 80% will vary depending on your settings. Remember, if you think that the charging is dropped down after an iOS update or after a few applications been updated, that's all myth, because that's a root cause, but it cannot be the direct impact of your battery performance, right? It may be that some application settings have been changed to go ahead and use some features from your phone, like the ambient sensor, let it be the gyroscope, or let it be the any sensors on your phone, and it eventually impacts the battery. So these are some things which you need to keep in mind. Do not directly just have a myth in your mind stating that after the update the battery is going wild. No, it's not the case, guys. It's something to do with the application, and we are going to learn more about that, how to get out of this situation. I'm going to show you what all it affects. So keep watching the video, guys, and look at this, the animation below. This is the charge cycle. There's a myth around this that if you charge to 100%, then again use it for sometimes the capacity, the one cycle reduces, but that's not at all the case. The cycle is from 25% to 100%, and one cycle is completed after you have discharged the 100% of your battery capacity. Please go through this. It's very, very informative, guys. All right, even this link will be shared for you guys, so keep an eye on it. And last thing on the theory part I would like to cover is the what we generally do is we look at the advertisement that this particular product gives so much of battery, but what we end up do is we do not research, we do not check the background on what conditions are those devices tested, on what specific settings are those devices used, where it has produced that awesome battery. I'm out of words. I'm sorry for that, guys. It generally shows you what in the advertisement that this phone holds this much of battery performance, and there are several factors which impacts and affects this. So please go through this site for your iPhones and other products. It gives you individual tests on what settings have those tests performed, and out of that is what the advertisements are shown, that the phone holds up to 10 hours of battery and etc. All these things varies a lot. Example, let's look at this talk time test. It says that Apple conducted the test in 2016 using the pre-production iPhone 7 units. All settings were default except Bluetooth was paired with headphones. Wi-Fi was associated with the network, and remember, Wi-Fi feature asked to join network was turned off. Many of us we do ignore this, we just keep this ask to join network as turned on, which impacts the battery life, guys. There are a lot of other things like internet uses over the Wi-Fi test, right? So it again says these are the devices used, and these are the settings which they have used during the test. Internet over Wi-Fi tests are conducted using a dedicated web server. Remember, it's a dedicated web server. It's not the usual broadband services, the usual server which we use as a consumer. It really depends and varies a lot. And one more thing, iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus browse snapshot versions of 20 popular websites. That means the websites have already been cached into the memory and then it was reopened. It was not that it was the very first time the browser was opened and we just searched for a site. No, it's not that. And all settings were again default. Wi-Fi AppStore works and auto brightness were turned off. Look at this. As I mentioned, each setting varies. Each performance varies on different modes of the usages. Remember that, guys. Standby test. Look at this again. Hey Siri was not enabled. These are some minor things which it's a fact, and we all every time we keep ignoring this. So please go through the site. There is very informative things on this. Please go through this. Remember again, during video playback, during the test, auto brightness were again off. All this matters a lot. Auto brightness can only be on when you are actually traveling outdoors, not when you are stable at home. Always remember that. And there are a lot of tests and a lot of settings which Apple has tried and given out the results. You please go through this test. This is very, very informative, guys. Right? Alright, so let's now dive into the alright guys, so let's have a look. What are the 7 factors which impacts the battery life or performance? Number 1, it's the location services. Why would location service cause battery drain? Because it uses GPS for the location based services. Now there are a lot of things which you would notice here, that there are applications which are using the location. And if you notice, I've changed few settings here from if you notice, few application has the option to use always while using the app or never. So based on what you usually or generally use, you can tweak your setting here. Example, I don't want Facebook to always keep a track on my location, right? Only when it's necessary, yes, I can choose this while using the app. Or if you people don't choose and you want it to be private, you can definitely ignore that. I mean, you can disable the location access for the Facebook. No one would really like to keep track on you, where you go, what you buy, and etc., and which location you are in at which moment. So you can turn this off and it will definitely save you a lot of battery life, guys. I personally prefer Facebook to have the location services enabled, and the rest of the application, if you notice, I have enabled it only when I'm using it. But yes, please note, there are certain application which I do not even know why they use the location. So if you want, you can just choose not to give them the access, and it eventually helps you to save tremendous battery life, guys. And look at this, Flickr. Why would Flickr need your location? Yes, it definitely needs, because when you upload the photos, it goes with the locations. So if you want, you can enable that, or if you don't want, you can just disable it. Now, why would Flipkart need your location? It definitely needs, because if there is a easiest way of getting your location updated on their records, and if you want, you can just allow them, or if you choose never, you can manually enter your location in the application when you are about to purchase something. So make sure that it's not always, it's actually selected while using the application. because only when you're using the application, if it uses the GPS, it makes sense, or else it never makes sense. Why should an application always constantly use your location and drain your battery? And trust me, with these tweaks, I've got around 25 to 30% of battery performance increased. So you can also use the settings here, guys. And if you notice, LinkedIn is also using, so just go through this. When you feel that something is not necessary, please go ahead and turn it off. And please watch the bottom part of this information. What iOS gives us is a dark purple location service icon will appear next to an item that has recently used your location. So if you notice, this is recently the Facebook has used my location, and you can eventually turn it off if you don't want to. A gray location service icon will appear next to an item that has used your location within the last 24 hours. So, and another one is an outline location service icon will appear next to an item that is using a geofence. Geofence is not really a service which it's active in India, but in a lot of other US, if you notice, if you're crossing through Amazon using the geofences, they will share the location based ads with you or directly on your phone. So that's something which is not available in India as of now. When it's available, you can surely go ahead and see which is a geofence based application. You can just turn off its location service in case if you're getting the updates on it. Alright, so one thing, if you notice here, there is a system services tab here. Please go inside and you'll see lot of other location services which uses the location, and it eventually eats up all your battery life. I would prefer you to disable in case if you're really struggling with the battery life. And please notice, there are emergency SOS feature which uses the location, Find My iPhone uses the location, HomeKit uses the location, and there are location based alerts. These are something which really happens with the Amazon app and the Flipkart app, if you notice. And if you don't want them to appear, you can just turn them off like this. And in case if you're interested, please do keep them on. I'm basically interested in those ads, frequent location based alerts, so I do keep them on. But there are other tweaks which I have done to make sure that I get a good performance out of my battery. Now if you notice, frequent locations, in case if you don't want the frequent locations to be on, you can just turn it off. Please read what it says. Allow your iPhone to learn places you frequently visit in order to provide useful location related information in maps, calendars and more. If you don't want, again, if you are privacy concerned individual, please turn it off. Correct. And moving on, diagnostics and usages. It's basically something which Apple will capture those diagnostics and usages related information. If you don't want to share, please turn them off. This is where the settings you can find, because at times what happens when you start an iOS update, or if there is a new update, and it eventually gives you the option diagnostic and usage, you want to automatically send or not. You can just what we end up doing is just enable it, and then we make sure that if you want it to be off, you can just come here and turn it off. And there are a lot of other things, traffic and routing, etc, etc. Alright, there's one more thing. If you notice, there is an information here. If you go here, it says if you choose to enable improve maps, Apple will collect the GPS coordinates obtained through a frequent location feature on your device and correlate them with the street address associated with the Apple ID. Yes, the feature is definitely nice, but look at the other aspect of it. It eventually eats up your battery like anything, guys. And there's one more very information here. If you notice, it says location services allows Apple and third-party apps and websites to gather and use information based on the current location of your iPhone. And there are a lot of location-based services, websites and applications will you need to see through your applications which you have installed. For example, Facebook is one of them, Amazon is one of them, Flipkart is one of them, and there are a lot more. Please to check which one is a location based app, services app, right? Now for example, it says an app might use the location data and location search query to help you find nearby coffee shops, etc. Indeed, it's definitely useful, but it eventually takes up a lot of battery. Now look at this. Location services uses GPS and Bluetooth where those are available, along with the crowdsourced Wi-Fi hotspot and mobile phone masked locations to determine your device's approximate locations. These features combined together really gives a very cohesive experience, but at the same time with the cost of the battery life, guys. So if you are interested, please turn it off and please go through this section. It has very informative things about location and privacy if you're concerned about. Let's go on. The second most important factor which affects the battery life is right, background app refresh, right? If you notice, it says allow apps to refresh their content when on Wi-Fi or a mobile network in the background. Turning off apps may help preserve battery life. It just says what we are intending to do. If you don't want, I would recommend turn it off and save a lot of battery, or turn it on and make sure that not all the application is using the, sorry for the notification guys, not all the applications are actually using the background app refresh option. And there is one myth, super myth, I would say, mother of all myths related to background app refresh, which I'm going to cover in the end of the video. Please watch the video completely, don't miss any of them. Let's move on. The third one, it's about the displays and brightness. If you notice, I've turned off my auto brightness because I'm not really in favor of having the display brightness set to auto brightness, because if you notice in the theory part, as I showed you, that there are few tests which Apple has conducted by having keeping this option off, because it eventually ends up taking up more battery life because it uses the ambient light sensor. Guys, understand, any feature which uses any sensors on your phone, it really takes up the battery, it consumes battery a lot. And make sure auto lock is also a feature which I would prefer you to keep it off, because again it uses some sensors to go ahead and lock your phone when you're not using it. And in case if you're really using manual way of locking your phone, then I don't think you need this feature to be on at all at any cost, just to save your battery again. Right, let's move on. The fourth important thing, I'm not sure you people would love this or not, but it's a fact. iTunes and AppStore, they keep tracking your applications, and they combine with the App Store, and they make sure that there are some it keeps checking the App Store for updates, and it usually consumes data. And if it is consuming data, it will definitely consume battery. So make sure you have automatically downloads as turned off for music, apps, iBooks and updates, because in case if you want to see if there is any updates available, it's very simple. Just go to the App Store, go to updates, and you will eventually see that the apps updates automatically and show you the updates available for at that moment, guys. So it's simple, keep it that way. Go back. Let's move on to the fifth and the most affected factor in most of the recent iPhones, which has the Hey Siri option. If you guys are not aware of what is Hey Siri, then that's a feature which you can communicate with Siri by just your voice by saying Hey Siri. If you notice, I have also turned off Hey Siri. Why? This feature, how would this impact, Naresh? If that's the question, then understand, guys. Hey Siri uses the microphone, and if the microphone is on always, for example, I'll show you this, one moment. If the microphone is on always for these many applications, it constantly uses the battery, and it's always advisable to keep this turned off. And this is the option which I'm referring to, Hey Siri, right? It is advisable for you to keep it off. The next one, very important, the battery preferences. If you notice, it's calculating the battery usage as of now. Let's hold on for a while. There you go. And notice, guys, there are great statistics and analytics available to understand what is causing the battery performance or battery drain, which application is causing. This is what I was talking about in the theory part, right? So let's look at this. This is the last 24 hours of battery consumption. Facebook has used 27%, the home and the lock screen has used 25%, YouTube has used 20%, and Safari, and so on and so on. If you look at this, WhatsApp background activity is 7%. Now let's do this, right? Let's take the 7 days data. 7 days data shows me that YouTube has used 27% of the battery life, WhatsApp 18, followed by Facebook. Look at this one important thing, guys. If you click on this icon right here on the top, the right hand corner, like it looked like a clock. Now notice it says Facebook 23 minutes screen time and 14 minutes background time. That means when I'm using the Facebook application, it has consumed 23 minutes, but when I'm not using the Facebook application, still Facebook has used 27%, that is 14 minutes of background task. And notice this, there are few applications which only uses the battery when it is on screen, like for example YouTube, right? And there are some application which uses background. If you notice Gboard, it says 17 minutes background. And there are a lot of other things which you can change this. I would suggest you guys to make sure that these applications, the background app refresh is actually off for these applications, because this is interrelated here. Let me show you how what I'm trying to say here is, if you go to general and go to background app refresh, right? If you turn off Facebook, it will eventually stop all the background activities of your phone and the application. It eventually prevents a lot of battery life, guys. And one more thing, very important, if you go to mail, if you have configured any mail, make sure the fetch new data is not set to push, because if it is set to push, it will automatically fetch the information. And also make sure that the fetch here is manual, right? If you set it push on and if you set fetch as 15 minutes, the battery will definitely consume, because it will keep on searching for the data to update the mail information. If you notice, please go through this. It says the schedule below is used when push is off, or for applications that do not support push. For better battery life, fetch less frequently. I would advise don't fetch it at all. Fetch it manually. When you just open, what I mean by fetches, if you open mail, one moment, and if you just do this, this is how the new mail fetches. That's as simple as that, guys. All right, so one more thing, the last and the seventh most important factor which affects your life is again the same thing. As I said, data, mobile data. If you could go to mobile data here and notice this, there are so many applications which is using mobile data. There are few applications which don't even need mobile data. Why would a photo editing app needs mobile data, guys? Understand. Why would a calculator needs a mobile data? And trust me, it really matters. If you turn off the applications which really don't need mobile data, we will save a lot of battery life. right? These were the 7 factors which impacts the battery life and performance. And now it's time for the stupendous mother of all myths to enhance battery life. Yes, they're the ones, right? Now, closing apps to save your battery, it feels like a cleansing or a reset. Best of all, with no apps running, your battery is in great shape, right? That's wrong. That's a myth. If anyone is in practice of closing these things over and over, please stop them. These applications running in the background do not affect your battery life. Yes, they do not. I'll explain you. On iOS, for instance, there are 5 different states an app can be in at any given time, right? Number 1, not running, which is obvious. You haven't launched it, it's not running. The second one is active. It's up, it's on the screen, and you're doing some stuff on it. Number 3, inactive. It's a traditional phase, I would say, where it's on the screen but not doing anything as you switch to something else, right? Let's an example. I think it's notes. It's on there, it does nothing, you're just reading it and nothing happens, right? Next, the fourth one is the background. It's a state when the app isn't in front of your face, but it's working, refreshing your mails, bringing in the latest tweets, Facebook notifications, etc. Right? This is again related to the background app refresh. Now, last suspended, it's a state where an app is in the background and doing absolutely nothing, just sits in the memory like a bump on a log, and trust me, it eventually does nothing. Generally, guys, there is no need to force an app to close unless it's unresponsive. Always remember that. Only when an app is unresponsive is the need that you need to force quit it. But if the app is running in the background, trust me guys, it's really important that the app really stays there, because there are a lot of things. Let me explain you how it works, right? When you press the home button 2 times and when you get this recently app, that means the app is ready to launch and ready to show you the data which you need. But what we end up doing is, if we quit it, if we reopen, it takes the same amount of energy for the processor to go ahead and open that application, guys. Understand? It involves a lot of energy for that processor to open the app again and show you or display you the content which the app holds. So don't do that. And I think you're far better off letting the system work for you rather than you forcing it to reopen and restart everything every time. Battery questions aside, leave that aside. It makes your phone slower and less coherent. Remember always that, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for watching with this video, guys, and I hope this video was very informative. If it is, please do share the video to your friends and family. If you have liked the video, please like the video. If you have disliked the video, go ahead, dislike the video. But yes, please don't stop there. Let me know, why did you dislike the video? What is that it was something missing? Do leave your comments below. I would love to hear it from you so that I can improve the next time when I'm creating such videos and the informative videos for you guys, right? And do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you have already subscribed, heartfully thanks to all who are my subscribers. And yes, one more thing, and you can also reach out to me through my Facebook page, and I'm going to leave that link in the description below. And also, if you want to participate in the live conversation, you can definitely do that through my Twitter page. I will also share my Twitter page here on the description. Do not forget to check the description below, right? And one more very important thing, I'm going to leave a vital few information regarding this content which I've created in the description below. Also do check it out, right? Thanks guys, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching this video completely. And this is Naresh signing off from SkillTune. Stay tuned for more updates and tune your skills. Good day.